A strong hold over current affairs is your way to succeed in the UPSC Civil Services examination. Brace yourself and get detailed coverage of relevant news both nationally and internationally. With the monthly current affairs revision program starting from 26th October at 5 p.m. Enroll today and elevate your current affairs knowledge with comprehensive coverage of current affairs compiled through relevant sources such as the Hindu Indian Express, Economic Times, PIB Yojana, and others. Expert support and personalized mentoring. Comprehensive assessment through MCQs and mains-oriented questions.
Hello and welcome to this edition of News Today. Without delay, let's have a look at the headlines first. Decision made at COP29 to ensure full operationalization of loss and damage fund. President highlights importance of Constitution at 75th Constitution Day of India. ISRO gets government approval for Venus mission Shukriyan. India signs the final act of Riyadh Design Law Treaty. High-level committee approved National Landslide Risk Mitigation Project in 15 states. Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying released Basic Animal Husbandry Statistics 2024. A significant decision was made at COP29, ensuring the full operationalization of the Loss and Damage Fund, or LDF. Let's take a closer look at the agreements and their implications. Under the COP29 presidency, critical agreements related to the LDF were finalized. These include the Trustee Agreement and the Secretariat Hosting Agreement, or SHA, signed between the Fund's Board and the World Bank, as well as the Host Country Agreement with the Republic of the Philippines. With these agreements in place, the LDF is set to begin financing projects from 2025. Now, for those unfamiliar, the Loss and Damage Fund was established during COP27 in Egypt and later operationalized at COP28 in Dubai. Its primary goal is to provide financial assistance to countries that are most vulnerable to climate change. Notably, the total pledged financial support for the fund has now exceeded $730 million. But what exactly is loss and damage? In the context of UN climate negotiations, it refers to the impacts of climate change that surpasses the limits of adaptation. This includes economic losses as well as non-economic losses, such as the disappearance of cultures and ways of living. Under the LDF, financial assistance will be extended in the form of grants and concessional financing. The journey of loss and damage negotiations at the UNFCCC began in 2007, when the concept first appeared in the Bali Action Plan. In 2013, the Warsaw International Mechanism was established to specifically address loss and damage. Building on this, the Paris Agreement in 2015 incorporated Article 8, focusing on loss and damage as a crucial element of global climate action. In 2019, the Santiago Network on Loss and Damage, or SNLD, was formed during COP25. Subsequently, in 2022, the Loss and Damage Fund was created at COP27. Finally, in 2023, the fund was operationalized at COP28, marking a significant milestone in addressing the impacts of climate change. However, the operationalization of the fund is not without its challenges. These include governance issues such as ensuring sustainable funding, deciding who benefits, and where the fund should be located. Financial complexities, particularly balancing the interest of donor and recipient countries. Scientific challenges, which involve defining and assessing loss and damage accurately. Other funds dedicated to addressing climate change include the Green Climate Fund, or GCF, which finances low-emission and climate-resilient development in developing countries. The Adaptation Fund, which supports concrete adaptation projects. The Least Developed Countries Fund, providing grants to the least developed countries for climate adaptation. In summary, the agreements signed at COP29 mark a pivotal step toward addressing the financial needs of countries bearing the brunt of climate change. As the LDF prepares to roll out projects in 2025, the global community watches closely, hoping for equitable and effective outcomes.
Moving ahead, we mark the 75th Constitution Day of India, also known as Samvidhan Divas. Celebrated annually on 26 November, this day commemorates the adoption of the Indian Constitution by the Constituent Assembly in 1949. The Constitution came into effect 2 months later on 26 January 1950, shaping the foundation of modern India. But first, let's understand what is a constitution. It's a body of fundamental principles that define how a state is governed. Constitutions can be written like those of India and the USA or unwritten as in the case of Britain. Now let's explore the significance and role of the Indian Constitution, starting with fundamental rights. Article 12 to 35 of Part 3 enshrine the fundamental rights. For example, the Supreme Court in the Justice K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India case affirmed that the right to privacy is an integral part of Article 21, the right to life and personal liberty. Moving on to social justice, the Constitution ensures equality through provisions like the abolition of untouchability under Article 17 and the protection of minority rights under Articles 25 to 28. It also fulfills societal aspirations by emphasizing goals such as environmental protection under Article 48A and ensuring education for all children under Article 45. Another vital role of the Constitution is establishing a framework of laws, principles, and institutions that define structure and functions of government. Lastly, the Constitution safeguards secularism. Article 25 to 28 guarantee the right to religious freedom. In the S.R. Bombay case 1994, the Supreme Court ruled that secularism is an essential part of the Constitution's basic structure. In conclusion, as we reflect on 75 years of our Constitution, let's celebrate the principles it upholds: justice, equality, liberty, and fraternity. Moving ahead, a groundbreaking step in space exploration has been taken as the government has approved ISRO's ambitious Venus mission Shukrayaan, or the Venus Orbiter mission. This mission, spearheaded by the Department of Space, aims to unlock the mysteries of Venus, focusing on its atmosphere, surface, and interaction with the Sun. Let's first delve into the specifics. Shukrayaan is set for launch in 2028. Its objectives are fascinating and multifaceted, examining dust in Venusian atmosphere, mapping its surface topography, studying the solar X-ray spectrum near the planet, and analyzing Venusian air flow. Additionally, it will serve as a technological demonstration for ISRO, testing advanced techniques like aerobraking and thermal management techniques in extreme conditions. Aerobraking is a method that uses a planet's atmosphere to slow down and adjust the spacecraft's orbit. Now, coming to the payloads of this mission, it will carry 16 Indian payloads, 2 collaborative payloads, Viswas and Ravi, and 1 international payload, Viral. Now, why is this mission so significant? Firstly, it will advance our understanding of evolution of the solar system as well as dynamics of the planetary atmosphere. Secondly, atmosphere of Venus is mainly composed of CO2, so studying its composition could shed light on greenhouse effect and other environmental issues. Furthermore, the mission will help in exploring Venus's atmospheric composition and shed light on Earth's evolutionary history. However, this mission does not come without its challenges. Venus presents extreme conditions with high temperatures and pressures that could damage spacecraft components. The planet's corrosive atmosphere, dominated by sulfuric acid clouds, can potentially corrode the components made of steel and titanium. Other hurdles include the harsh terrain, limited sunlight for solar panels, and overcoming technological constraints. India's Shukrayaan follows in the footsteps of successful past missions to Venus, including Mariner 2 by the USA in 1962, ESA's Venus Express, NASA's Magellan, and Japan's Akatsuki. Future missions to Venus like NASA's Da Vinci and Veritas, ESA's Envision, and the Venus Life Finder mission by Rocket Lab and MIT demonstrate growing global interest in unraveling the secrets of our neighboring planet. With Shukrayaan, ISRO aims to position India at the forefront of interplanetary exploration, tackling challenges with innovation and determination.
Moving ahead, there is an important development in the realm of intellectual property rights that reaffirms India's commitment to inclusive growth and a strengthened intellectual property ecosystem. India has signed Design Law Treaty, or DLT, a landmark agreement adopted by member states of the World Intellectual Property Organization, or WIPO, after nearly 2 decades of negotiations. This treaty promises to revolutionize design protection globally. So, what is a design in the context of intellectual property? Design refers to the ornamental aspects of a product, essentially its aesthetic appeal. Now, let's explore the key provisions of the DLT. It allows applicants to include multiple designs in a single application, provided specific conditions are met. Applicants can choose to keep their design unpublished for at least 6 months after securing a filing date. The treaty establishes clear requirements for granting a filing date, ensuring that delays do not result in the loss of rights. A grace period of 12 months is provided, during which the first disclosure of a design will not impact its validity for registration. Finally, the DLT introduces e-filing systems and facilitates the electronic exchange of priority documents, streamlining processes for designers and innovators. Why is this treaty significant? The DLT is a game changer, particularly for startups and SMEs. It empowers them to protect their designs globally, thereby enhancing their competitiveness and fostering growth. By making procedures predictable, affordable, and less complex, it reduces barriers to entry for smaller players. Importantly, it also integrates design protection with traditional knowledge and cultural expressions, strengthening safeguards for these unique assets. The treaty standardizes procedural requirements, reducing administrative burdens and promoting global creativity in design. To provide a broader context, let's briefly revisit intellectual property itself. Intellectual property, or IP, encompasses creations of the mind, ranging from inventions and industrial designs to literary, artistic works, symbols, and more. These creations hold commercial value, and IP rights grant creators exclusive benefits when their work is exploited commercially. IP rights are statutory rights governed in accordance with provisions of corresponding legislations. Types of IP include patents, copyrights, trademarks, trade secrets, and geographical indicators, all of which play a critical role in driving innovation and protecting creativity. Finally, a word about WIPO. Headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland, WIPO is a specialized United Nations agency established in 1967 to promote IP rights globally. It currently has 193 member countries, including India, actively contributing to its mission. With this landmark signing, India takes another significant step towards fostering innovation and creativity on a global scale.
In an important step forward in disaster management, a high-level committee chaired by the Union Home Minister has approved the National Landslide Risk Mitigation Project across 15 states. This initiative will be funded by the National Disaster Mitigation Fund and aims to address and mitigate landslide risks in vulnerable areas. The high-level committee also approved projects focused on training and capacity building for civil defense across all states and union territories under the preparedness and capacity building component of the National Disaster Response Fund. Now, why is the National Landslide Risk Mitigation Project crucial? Unlike earthquakes and tsunamis, landslides can be predicted and even prevented. The project promotes a culture of scientific investigation, detailed analysis, and effective management strategies to mitigate these risks. Now, let's take a closer look at the National Disaster Mitigation Fund, or NDMF. Established in 2021 under the Disaster Management Act 2005 and based on the recommendations of the 15th Finance Commission, the NDMF is applied by the National Disaster Management Authority. Its funds are dedicated exclusively to disaster mitigation projects. Speaking of landslide management in India, advanced techniques like remote sensing and GIS mapping are being used to conduct landslide hazard zonation mapping and identify high-risk zones. Real-time monitoring with sensors, satellite data, and drones has enabled the development of early warning systems. Both structural measures such as slope stabilization and non-structural measures like regulating land use and preventing deforestation are crucial to reducing these risks. Enhancing coordination among agencies like the NDMA, Geological Survey of India, and state disaster management authorities is also key. Now let's look at the landslides in India. First of all, the cause of landslides in India can be any movement of a mass of rock, debris, or earth down a slope due to force of gravity. For example, Kerala, Wayanad, etc. Unfortunately, India ranks among the top 4 countries at highest landslide risk, as highlighted by the ISRO Landslide Atlas of India. The contributing factors range from natural causes such as intense rainfall and seismic activities to anthropogenic ones like deforestation and unplanned construction. Significant measures are already underway, including the National Landslide Susceptibility Mapping Program initiated by the Geological Survey of India in 2014-15. The Landslide Risk Mitigation Scheme provides financial support for site-specific projects, while the NDMA has issued comprehensive guidelines on management of landslides and snow avalanches issued by the National Disaster Management Authority.
On the occasion of National Milk Day, observed on 26th November to commemorate the birth anniversary of Dr. Varghese Kurian, the father of India's White Revolution, the Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying released the Basic Animal Husbandry Statistics, or BAHS 2024. Let's dive into the key findings and insights from the report. To begin with, milk production in India for 2023-24 is estimated at 239.30 million tons, showcasing an impressive growth of 5.62% over the past decade, starting from 2014-15. Among the states, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh emerge as the top 3 milk producers. Moving on to egg production, the country produced 142.77 billion eggs in 2023-24, registering a remarkable growth rate of 6.8% over the last 10 years. Andhra Pradesh stands out as the largest contributor, followed by Tamil Nadu. Globally, India holds the second position in egg production, further establishing its dominance in the livestock sector. Now, coming to the wool production. The estimated output stands at 33.69 million kilograms, reflecting a modest growth of 0.22% compared to the previous year. Now, let's take a moment to understand the significance of animal husbandry. The sector involves raising livestock and selective breeding to enhance genetic qualities and behaviors for profit. Importantly, the livestock sector contributed 30.19% to the total agriculture and allied sector GVA during 2021-22, offering livelihoods to 8 crore farmers and landless laborers, while contributing to food security through milk, meat and eggs. However, the sector faces challenges such as diseases like lumpy skin disease and foot and mouth disease, low productivity of indigenous breeds and inadequate vaccination coverage, among others. To address these challenges, the government has implemented several initiatives. Rashtriya Gokul Mission, launched in 2014, focuses on conserving and developing indigenous bovine breeds. The Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund incentivizes investments in dairy processing, product diversification and meat processing. The National Livestock Mission aims to generate employment through entrepreneurship in small ruminants, poultry and piggery, while increasing per animal productivity through breed improvement. In conclusion, the BAHS 2024 report highlights India's robust growth in the animal husbandry sector, while also underlining the need to address key challenges.
In today's Place in News, we'll discuss Tanzania with its capital, Dodoma. It is in news as recently the 3rd India-Tanzania Joint Defence Cooperation Committee meeting was held in Goa to further expand bilateral ties. If we talk about its political features, it is an East African country situated just south of the equator. It shares its borders with Kenya and Uganda to the north, Rwanda, Burundi, Democratic Republic of Congo to the west, and Zambia, Malawi, and Mozambique to the south. Its bordering water bodies include Lake Victoria in the north, Indian Ocean in the east, Lake Tanganyika in west, and Lake Nyasa in the southwest. In terms of its geographical features, its climate is usually tropical, with a long dry season and 2 rainy seasons. Its major lakes include Lake Tanganyika, which is also the world's second deepest lake. Its highest peak is Mountain Kilimanjaro, also a dormant volcano and highest mountain in Africa. Its major rivers include Ruvuma and the Rufiji.
As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. The Indian Coast Guard will conduct the 11th edition of the National Maritime Search and Rescue Exercise and Workshop, SAREX 24, under the National Maritime Search and Rescue Board in Kochi. The theme for SAREX 24 is enhancing search and rescue capabilities through regional collaboration. This highlights the ICG's dedication to providing assistance during large-scale contingencies, irrespective of location, nationality, or circumstances, within the Indian Search and Rescue Region or ISRR and beyond. The Union Home Minister and Minister of Cooperation attended the Diamond Jubilee celebrations of National Federation of State Cooperative Banks Limited or NAFSCOB. Established in 1964, NAFSCOB aims to support the operations of state and central cooperative banks with a focus on advancing cooperative credit. Its objective is to promote the growth of cooperative banking in India, foster financial inclusion, and strengthen the rural economy. Supreme Court seeks a union government report prepared by a committee negotiating a dispute between Tamil Nadu and Karnataka over sharing of Punnayar River water. Punnayar Basin is second largest interstate east-flowing river basin. Its basin is bounded in north by Palar Basin, on west and south by Kaveri Basin, and on east by Bay of Bengal. The Union Minister of Rural Development and Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare has launched the third edition of the national campaign, Nai Chetna Pehal Badlav Ki. This initiative aims to raise awareness and encourage action against all forms of gender-based violence through grassroots efforts. The campaign is organized by the Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, National Rural Livelihoods Mission under the Ministry of Rural Development. Ministry of Science and Technology has formally launched India's first indigenous antibiotic, nafithromycin, for tackling antimicrobial resistance or AMR. Nafithromycin has been developed with the support of Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council under its Biotechnology Industry Partnership Program. It has been brought to market under trade name McNav by pharma company Wockhardt. The International Pathogen Surveillance Network or IPSN has announced the first round of grants towards understanding disease threats. IPSN is brought together by WHO Hub for Pandemic and Epidemic Intelligence, established in 2021 in Berlin, to provide the world with better data, analytics, and decisions to detect and respond to health emergencies. It is a new global network of pathogen genomic surveillance or PGS actors that accelerates work of its members to improve access and equity. India's aquaculture sector is increasingly embracing biofloc technology or BFT and recirculating aquaculture systems or RAS to boost production, promote sustainability, and reduce environmental impact. BFT, a closed-tank-based fish farming technique, uses beneficial microbes known as flocs to maintain water quality. The Central Electricity Authority has recognized surface hydrokinetic turbine technology or SHKT under the hydro category for driving innovation in alternative energy solutions. Unlike conventional hydroelectric systems that rely on potential energy of water, SHKT harnesses the kinetic energy of flowing water with minimum reliance on potential energy. This allows electricity generation without the need for large dams. Before we sign off, let's challenge your understanding in today's installment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this episode of News Today engaging. For the solutions to the quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description below.